Hey everybody, I haven't done one of these in a while, a little gear review. We're going to talk about the Electro Harmonix Soul Food pedal. I just bought it about a week ago. I've already used it on a couple tracks. I have a little bit to say about it. It's a Klon clone. We're going to talk a little bit about my take on what that is. It's actually my second Klon clone. I really like this one. And at the end, we're also going to use this pedal with a fuzz pedal. And I'll show you how I found it most effective. Hope you'll consider watching. That's an excellent little pedal. And you know, this is my second Klon clone. I've got that Acorn Amplifiers, which is on my big pedal board. I love it. This is $100 new, and like you can get them like for 45, 50 bucks used. And it's just a well-made little pedal. And I think the Klon sound, as I've said, I guess it's supposedly transparent. You don't get a lot of that kind of Pink Floyd-y fuzz that just kind of sounds so creamy, but you do get a really nice kind of warm and if you want gritty sound that doesn't really change the complexion of your guitar too much, I think small. I'll tell you the one nick I would give on this is like a lot of those EHX pedals. It's got that big kind of, I guess they call them wall wart, but that big power adapter. And all the the manual says do not use this with anything other than the EHX adapter, or I could damage the pedal. And then I looked at some of the reviews on YouTube, and they said you can just use it with a regular 9-volt adapter, you know, like a Boss type pedal. But the manual didn't say that. The manual said be sure to use the EHX pedal. The other thing, look at this EHX power adapter. It's huge, and look at this. There's the end of it. That end is a little thin cord. I'm just thinking that's going to strip out. But the manual says do not use a regular 9-volt. So this is, you know, just kind of your regular, what is it, you know, the one you always see. You could plug that in there, but the manual says use the one that came with the pedal. So, but that's a very thin little cable. Plus you've got this honker, which makes it a pain to plug in. I think that's a significant nick to the pedal, frankly. It doesn't necessarily go to how well it functions as a pedal once you get it going, but from the logistics and usage side, I think that's a significant nick, that it has that big wall wart. And that little that thing look at how thin that is. I mean, you know. Okay, this is more or less the pedal. You've got a volume, treble, and drive. So I'm using it in conjunction with my fuzz. This has the Keeley Dark Side. This is the fuzz. And when I play those Pink Floyd tracks and everything, I crank that fuzz and a fair amount of delay. That's how I get that sound. But I think this adds some clarity. And I have found there are definitely unpleasant sounds in this pedal. And I normally, when I get a pedal, I always start with everything at 12 o'clock. To me, when you set that drive at 12 o'clock, you're already too much. I didn't find almost any, especially when I use it with the fuzz, but even just as a standalone pedal, there was almost nothing I liked when the gain was past 12 o'clock. On the other hand, you wouldn't want it way down there because then you don't really get anything. And you just end up with strictly a volume boost almost. So setting it right around here to me is the sweet spot, and that almost should be dimed out. They should maybe recalibrate the knobs or something, because however this pedal's configured, I didn't find as soon as you start getting up around here even, and definitely when you get in this area, I was finding unpleasant sounds. So I left it around here. And, you know, a lot of times I think if a pedal has unpleasant sounds, you know, there shouldn't be too many. You should have different sounds, but if you have a lot that are unpleasant, that's a kind of a red flag. And this definitely has unpleasant sounds. That said, when you keep this set right, it adds to your sound. And as I've said, I like using it with a fuzz set right like this, and I also don't like the treble that high. Thing, I very seldomly play electric guitar picking with my fingers. I know a lot of great players do. I was messing around with it though a little bit, just sort of spontaneously, and I found that using the Soul Food added clarity and punch and made me feel a little more confident about using my fingers on the right hand. And I think it kind of brought it out in the mix enough, as it were, to really the nuances, the more subtle ways that you play when you play with your fingers in the right hand. I thought it brought it out. It gives me an idea of maybe some future possibilities and maybe trying to expand the way I play a little bit. You know, I really like the Soul Food, and I'm sure it's a lot like these other Klon clones. But, you know, first of all, it's 99 bucks. I mean, it almost seems like a challenge to make a Klon clone as cheap as you can and as good as you can, because you're offsetting one of the most ridiculously expensive used pedals on the market. So if you can make one that sounds just as good, the cheaper the better. You're kind of making a point. This thing is 99 bucks. I don't consider that all that much. And I only bought $99 because there were a couple that were 50 used, and I don't know why I just bought a new one, but I really like it. I will say that I kind of settled on the use for it, which seems to be what others use it for, which is enhancing your sound. I don't think I would use it as a standalone overdrive pedal unless I were doing maybe some kind of country. But you know, I like I said, alone, I always had trouble with. There was kind of an abrasive quality to the sound. But what I found it really does well is if you add it in with a fuzz pedal, it just really adds a singing clarity to the fuzz while keeping your fuzz, because I love fuzz. I think fuzz is one of the great effects that you can have on your sound if you like classic rock and old school music. That was the use I found for it. Soul Food in conjunction with the nice fuzz pedal. More than almost any pedal I've had, the knobs are very touchy. A little is a lot. So I think I was finding some unpleasant sounds in there. And, you know, I'm always kind of critical. To me, there shouldn't be all that many unpleasant sounds in any pedal. I mean, you might have different sounds, but if a lot of the sounds you're getting are unpleasant, it makes you wonder if it's worth it to, you know, if half the time it doesn't sound good to you, fishing around for the other half of the time where it sounds good, you might decide it's not worth it. That's how, been my experience. This definitely has some unpleasant sounds in it, but I hit on that using it with the fuzz with that one setting, and I really like it. I think it's an excellent sound. So I recommend it really highly as a Klon clone. If you just want a Klon clone, it's $100, and you can get a used one for $50. You can hardly go wrong. And if you put one in front of a fuzz, I put it in front of the fuzz. That's the other thing. Some people might put it after. I put it in front. But that might be because my fuzz pedal has a delay on it, and I wanted to keep the delay coming after the fuzz in the Soul Food. But I really do like it. I think it just added, it really enhanced my sound without changing a lot, and I guess that's the idea of transparency. So I do recommend it. I think it sounds killer the way I used it. There are a lot of sounds in there I did not like. I'm just going to put that out there. There were a lot of sounds in this pedal I didn't like. Some of them, it just kind of, my guitar would jump. It would go from sounding kind of nice to just being kind of harsh and metallic and tinny sounding. And I did not like it. Okay. Put everything at 12. Let's turn this down a little bit. Then you get a a little bit of a volume boost there. There we go. It's that nice, just warmed it up a little bit, but you have to adjust the levels. Listen, just warmed it up a little bit. And I guess that was a setting issue, but like I said, if there are too many different unpleasant sounds in a pedal, it makes you wonder if it's worth it to look for the good sounds that are in there. Might be, but it might not be. And this definitely had some sounds I didn't like, but when I used it the way I've described it with the fuzz, I was very pleased. I thought for the money I spent, it really enhanced the sound in a good way. Thanks. God bless.